The bankruptcy trustee is now hiring our lawyer, Randy Shockett, as her special counsel against LIEnette. In other words, federal court trustee is paying Randy to represent the federal court to go after all of LIEnette's assets. LIEnette interrupts the trustee and our lawyers again.
Are you surprised?
Not at all. And now it's going to a full deposition in bankruptcy court. Bankruptcy court's back on, George.
It sure is. And guess what?
Chicken butt.
Guess who else had a late submission of documents?
What? Would that be LIEnette and Saran Wrap? Again?
Again. Did we say again?
One more time for those in the back row. Again. Trustee's not happy. Not at all. Not at all. And things are getting, well, the level in the Zoom call just keeps growing. Well, let's get to it.
Keeps getting interesting.
Very, very interesting, George. Okay. Bankruptcy case is actually scheduled for 11:10 because that's the last on the trustee's schedule, and she knows this is going to be a longer than normal meeting because there are so many creditors that are interested in this. Now, we have two lawyers on this. We have Randy and a specialty lawyer just for creditors such as us.
Yes, he specializes in bankruptcy court.
So we get a phone call before we jump on Zoom, and that is from Randy. Unfortunately, we can't share with you what that's about. But he does state get on immediately, and this is like 15-20 minutes before the call is even scheduled. Last time we weren't allowed in till the exact moment.
Correct.
And so we thought, well, we'll just wait till like 5 minutes beforehand. But nope, it was going on before we even knew about it. So we did jump on, and we jump in at 11:04. We're in the waiting room. And we are literally thinking, what insane thing is LIEnette gonna do today?
Is she gonna try and appear without the camera again?
Guess what? She did! She tried it again. So LIEnette tries to get on Zoom yet again without showing herself on video. Now, how'd that go for her last time, George?
It did not go well. And that was one of the many reasons why the trustee, the Chapter 7 bankruptcy trustee, wanted a continuance, because the debtor has to appear in person, meaning via camera, via Zoom.
Proving that they actually are who they are. So, and the most hilarious thing is when the trustee has everybody announce their appearance and who they are, and she goes, your full legal name, and LIEnette, Michelle, Lacey, Alexis, Ruby, Con, I don't know, so many names, I forget them all, Preston the third.
Senior.
You forgot
senior.
Forgot the senior. Yeah. Oh my goodness, the insanity of it all.
She did eventually appear via camera after the trustee was like, no, we are not doing this.
So she got put in her place there yet again. Trustee lets everybody on by 11:11, which we're scheduled to go at 11:10. We're all on. What did you notice when LIEnette actually got her camera on? What was her background? We've got Ghostbusters and Garbage Pail Kids. What was her background?
Well, I noticed that she was wearing the same pajama top as last time. Her hair wasn't in a messy bedhead bun. She actually cut bangs to cover like the receding hairline. Did you notice that the bangs were covering her receding hairline?
Yeah, I did.
So she does have bangs, or she at least put them down if she did have bangs. And she was sitting in the camper.
The what?
Her new camper that she just got a few weeks ago, she said.
The what? She's in bankruptcy. Oh, wait, hold a second. Are you trying to tell me that she filed for bankruptcy, then went and got a loan for a brand new camper, paid $5,000 down, was begging and pleading for more, and she's in a new camper with this trustee in the bankruptcy filing? This is interesting. This is beyond interesting. Now, you can at times see LIEnette talking to somebody over off to the side, whether it's Crook or whether it's one of her multiple other personalities, I don't know. But she's mumbling and muttering off to the side on film. Now, I gotta admit, I'm pretty animated as well as I'm hearing things and doing things. So every lie she says, there's no doubt I'm shaking my head in the camera. George and I are just writing like crazy. Notes and notes and notes and notes and notes.
Yeah, we both took notes. But as she would say certain things, I would look up to see what her attorney is doing. I would look up at him.
Oh, he's doing. Every time I saw him, he was like, "Oh no, crap! Oh crap! Oh crap! Oh crap!"
So
she's talking crap!
Like Jeremy and I can both take notes sitting upright and just doing this. He's like this.
George?
You can't.
No,
all you see is the top of his head because he's writing like this.
Interestingly enough, you did not see a toilet today in the background.
He must have changed the angle.
I'm guessing. He finally learned. I'm sure he knows that the world is making fun of him for going on Zoom calls on a toilet. Which is appropriate because, you know, he and DEUCE. He's DEUCE's boy now. All right. So LIEnette's in the new camper and Saran Wrap is not on a toilet, which is interesting. Now, here's one of the most interesting things. Remember last time, you know, LIEnette and CROOK, they're like this in the camera. Well, LIEnette is doing it again. She's got ring after ring after ring after ring on all of her hands. Now, you may be thinking, well, why does that matter? Last night, after dinner, which the trustee was very upset about, they filed yet another amended listing of all of her assets and her liabilities. Under jewelry, she lists she owns one stainless steel bracelet worth $50. The trustee has the information. She's got all of her hands filled with gaudy rings in the camera. Can you say perjury? Federal court perjury. How stupid can any every time I ask this, they keep proving they're dumber and dumber and dumber.
Yes. Just when you ask, like, can they get any dumber or stupider? And the question is,
yes. They absolutely can. So she already physically being on camera is proving one of the many lies in her filings. And then Randy gets an opportunity to question her and exploits many more lies, which understand this is federal court. Now, I also want to be very, very clear. The trustee already knows the truth. The trustee knows about her social media YouTube. The trustee knows about her social media standing in her trash. The trustee knows about the flea market. The trustee has all the videos from the flea market of all the merchandise. The trustee has every single screenshot of she just sold a permanent jewelry welder machine for $500 on Facebook, which she lied about and said it was for $300. But we'll get to that. The trustee has everything. The trustee already knows how much the lying has been going on and continues to go on and will continue to go on. The trustee is literally setting the stage in federal court for her to get perjury charges. There's no doubt about it whatsoever. But before she does that...
Well, that's part of the trustee's job, is to do the research, which is why she was so upset that documents are being turned in last minute, because it doesn't give her the opportunity to look at the paperwork and to do her research and to look into it and to vet. She's got to vet the information, right?
Wasn't it LIEnette who was publicly posting, "Do your research! Do your research! Find the truth!" Huh. Well, the trustee already has it. This isn't looking good for LIEnette. It gets hilarious. So the trustee goes on to say, I just want to make sure everybody understands I am the only one here that has authorization to record. I will be recording everything today. By the way, we requested it for it to be recorded because we knew there was going to be perjury and there are going to be charges coming from that. And so she makes it a point to let LIEnette know it is being recorded and that nobody else has any opportunity or legal standing to record. This is why we have pages and pages and pages of notes.
Notes.
So.
All right. So then the trustee proceeds and starts asking the debtor, whose name is LIEnette, Lishel, Lacey, Alexis, Ruby, Preston Sr. She just goes down a list of questions, and they're basically yes/no questions.
Well, and before we even got to that part, the trustee actually goes off in regards to Saran Wrap and LIEnette, sending in the amended information in the filings yesterday after dinner. And she says, schedules arrived yesterday in the evening after dinner, and I didn't have a chance to go through it. Now, after this continuance was already ordered because they didn't do it appropriate the last time, how do you think the trustee is taking it this time? Now, also understand DEUCE is giving direction to Saran Wrap. No doubt about it whatsoever. Delay, delay, delay. Do anything you can to delay. Because ultimately what's going to happen is DEUCE is going to flee and run. LIEnette's going to be there, and she's going to be held liable legally for everything DEUCE has done.
How does DEUCE have all these people under his control? Under his contrived control?
I don't know. I stupid people doing stupid things, I guess. So then the trustee puts LIEnette under oath. Now, you have to understand that the trustee already knows that LIEnette is going to be lying. She's going to be questioned. She's going to be lying. And the trustee is literally going, we're going for perjury. She's already had enough. The trustee is going for perjury charges in federal court, bankruptcy court, against LIEnette for this. And she emphasizes it over and over again. And she goes, you're under oath? Yep. And now we're set and ready to roll. So Madam Mayor arrives at 11:16. She was having problems. She was in the back room. And then finally the trustee pauses and lets Madam Mayor in as well, part of the Trespass 5 case.
Yes. So she did announce that someone else was in the waiting room and she lost them, and that she was going to give them an opportunity to come back in, which she did, and let her in.
So what else happens, and it happens after we're in the position of questioning. So the trustee is questioning LIEnette, and then somebody else shows up in the waiting room. But let's get to those questions first.
Okay.
I don't know what you have. What did you write down?
The first question that the trustee asked LIEnette, who's the debtor, is if she read the entire bankruptcy paperwork. And her answer was yes. Second question was, did you read and sign the paperwork? LIEnette's answer was yes. Then she asked her, was the signature on the paperwork your own? And she says yes. And she asked her again, just to confirm the signature on the documents is your own signature? And she says, well, yes. So then she asked her, was the information on the paperwork correct? LIEnette answers yes. Next question was, were all of your assets listed? And LIEnette says yes. Yes. Were all of your assets listed? She says yes. Then she asks, were all of the values of the assets accurate? LIEnette says yes. Now remember, Jeremy talked about the rings.
The rings.
On her hands.
You remember the rings right there in the camera, in the trustee's face. That's just one minor thing.
Mm-hmm. Then she goes on to ask her, were all of the creditors listed? Did you list all of your creditors? And she says yes. So then she asks her if she has filed any tax returns in the years 2022 through 2024, because we're not done with 2025 yet. Taxes aren't due. So she asked her about 2022, 2023, 2024. I wonder what the significance of those years are.
Typically with taxes, you have to hold on to your taxes for 3 years. So they usually look back 3 years. Other than that, you toss them away. So I only keep records of 3 years of taxes, hard records. And then after that, the next year I throw the previous year away. So
I thought it was Because the 501c3 was launched in 2022. That was my thought.
We're going to get to that. We are going to get to that. Oh, it's a huge thing right now because Randy drills her on it. Okay, keep going.
So then the trustee asks her, did you have any reportable income within those years? And she says no. Reportable income says no.
What? GoFundMes, Cash Apps. You've got PayPal links. You've got Venmo links.
Zelle.
You've got Zelle. You've got Chiefland Flea Market. You've got Outer Creek Post. You've got Fleesa and everybody. All of the physical items, the merchandise, none of it was claimed. The money, none of it was claimed. Every single donation that comes to you in your name must be claimed on your taxes. Not a if and or but. It is an absolute. So, LIEnette didn't claim all the money that came from only me and everybody else, over $100,000, by Fleesa's own words, her own toothless mouth. Mm-hmm. Neither did Fleesa. Who's going to get busted for the tax evasion? Will it be LIEnette or will it be Fleesa? Which, by the way, let me assure you, she threw Fleesa under the bus in bankruptcy court.
Oh, yes.
Woo!
Oh, yes.
And that bus hit Fleesa and went, ah! That's too big. I can't get past it. Went, because Fleesa will be in federal court in this bankruptcy case.
Mm-hmm. Even if she has to get there on her golf cart. So then the trustee proceeds to ask her, do you pay any child support or alimony? She says no, but she says no with an attitude. Like, just answer yes or no. Like, why the attitude?
Especially since LIEnette is bringing this into the federal court. This is what LIEnette wants. Why would you get an attitude or snippy with the trustee who's the only one that's in charge of giving you what you want right now?
Which reminds me, when the trustee had everyone identify themselves, she started off with the debtor, which was LIEnette. And she goes, yes, I'm here, with an attitude again. So then she went on to her attorney, and he identified himself very, very professional. He was very professional. And then he said, I represent Miss Preston. Miss Preston, could you identify herself? Again, she got so snippy and attitude. She's like, yes, I'm here, LIEnette Preston. And is like shaking her head and like rolling her eyes. Like, does she not realize that she's doing that? Or is her anxiety over the roof and she can't control on fixing her face and fixing her attitude?
I will say one thing about Saran Wrap, okay? So, Saran Wrap, while not the brightest, he is definitely a few fries short of a Happy Meal. He's a few watts short of being a LED light bulb. He is not unprofessional, and he's not a jerk like DEUCE. And so I appreciate his professionalism. Why I think his intellect lacks, his professionalism remains. Why I think he's actually creating these delay tactics, and you could go, that's not professional, but his in-appearance professionalism still remains. And so as stupid as I think he is, especially for hitching himself up to DEUCE and LIEnette, he's still been professional. Yes. He was professional throughout this entire thing.
If you were to take votes on who's more approachable, Saran Wrap or DEUCE, I guarantee you Saran Wrap would get more votes.
Oh, without a doubt.
So then she goes on to ask the debtor, LIEnette, if she's transferred any property in the last 4 years. So the look back period is 4 years. 4 years. So isn't that interesting? So if she tries to transfer, because there's been discussion for a few months now, maybe even a couple of years now, that she's been trying to transfer assets into the child's name or even into Crook's name.
Or even Crook's family's name.
You know what that means if she does that? That's all falls under the umbrella of fraudulent transfer.
That's jail for her.
Does she know what fraudulent transfer means? Because that's what that means if she tries to attempt to do that.
I don't think that word means what she thinks it means. Just throwing that out there. Fraudulent!
So then the trustee goes on to ask her, do you have anyone holding on to property for you? What do you guys think how she answered? She said no.
Nope.
But I don't believe that at all. So then she goes on to ask, are you suing anyone else? Are you suing anyone else that you haven't already listed on the paperwork? She goes, no. Well, then what's all the talk about her trying to intimidate a federal witness, threatening to sue her?
So they have threatened to sue Shara. They absolutely should sue Fleesa. Absolutely should sue DEUCE. They would actually win. Against Fleesa and DEUCE, they would win. That's the only thing they have available for them to win. And LIEnette and Oliver, genius, goes, nope.
So that's intimidation witness, or in trying to intimidate a federal witness with the latest post that she did towards Shara. So that's been screenshotted 100 times.
And we get to use it in federal court.
So then the trustee goes on to ask her if she's inherited any money. And she answers no. And then the trustee goes on to explain that she still needs the opportunity to view the amended submissions because it was turned in after dinner time on a Sunday. And so she goes on to explain to the attorney, who should already know this, what he should and shouldn't do. So if you want to explain that part.
Well, during this, what happened is somebody else actually shows up in the Zoom link. Think that was vomit? Think that was paint chips? Who do you think it was DEUCE? Is he on the loose? Or is he just hitting that juice?
Or was it Marley?
So the trustee says, person in the waiting room, identify yourself. And then there's nothing. Silence. Not even a cricket from Fleesa's garage.
Or a fart noise.
And she goes on to say, identify yourself. And nothing. Literally nothing. She goes, fine, you're out. And kicks the person out. Now, I have no doubt whatsoever. This is my opinion. I have no proof for it. But I have no doubt internally that this is somebody that was not supposed to be on this call, trying to be on this call, and LIEnette gave the information to that individual. Or DEUCE gave the information to that individual. Or CROOK gave the information to that individual.
It could have been Fleesa trying to be nosy.
All right. So I think as far as the trustee asking questions, the trustee asked a specific question on purpose because the trustee already knows what Fleesa has been involved with. And this is going to be absolutely hashed out in federal court. And so the trustee knows exactly what's going on. And the trustee asks, has anybody been holding money that was given toward you or your daughter? And LIEnette says, no. Whoa! Holy cow. Holy cow. I just can't believe it. I just can't believe it. I cannot believe what I'm hearing, what I'm witnessing. It's absolute insanity at this point.
Especially after the post that she has posted on social media, whether it's her Facebook or her YouTube post. The trustee has read it all.
We've given the trustee all the links. Now, you've heard us talking about LIEnette and Judge Grudge having ex parte meetings, right? That's illegal for a judge to do that. Unless you're in a domestic violence situation, for example, you need a CPO. We go and we tell the judge, this is why we need a CPO, so the protection order. The judge listens to that, puts the CPO on, then goes, all right, we're going to have an evidentiary hearing. That is not what Judge Grudge did. Now, this trustee has been having conversations with us the entire time, which is 100% legal. The trustee knows everything she said, everything LIEnette has posted, knows all of her social media accounts, has all the videos, has all the information already. The trustee is setting her up with questions to fail because she knows she's a pathological liar and is going to perjure herself. And so the trustee asks very specifically, is there anybody holding money for you? By the way, the trustee will be going after Fleesa and the money in all of Fleesa's accounts. The trustee already knows this. And LIEnette lies. I can't believe it. I cannot believe it. Which, by the way, during the questions afterwards, LIEnette throws Fleesa under the bus. So we'll get to that. But the trustee, as George said earlier, the trustee it starts to really reprimand Saran Wrap and go, this is ridiculous, and how am I supposed to get through this? We already had this conversation. That's why we're here. We're on a continuance. Then tells him 100%. Okay, she goes, 100% of an answer is not okay on this filing. And she goes, it is 100% objectable, and I will object to it. And you will not have the ability to argue that. It will just go into the court that way that it's objected to, and that's what it's going to be unless you put actual values. So what she means is LIEnette is stating, oh well, the Jeep Gladiator, it's worth this much money. I forget what it was on the paperwork. I think she put $20,000 on the paperwork is what I think she put. I got it late last night too, and I just skimmed through it. We had a very, very busy night. Obviously, we have a live stream. We have a huge auction. Oh yeah, there's my lawyer right now. I'll be right back. That was insane.
Oh my goodness. Best news ever. Best news ever. I mean, how many times a day can we win?
Oh my goodness. The bankruptcy trustee is now hiring our lawyer, Randy Shockett, as her special counsel against LIEnette. In other words, federal court trustee is paying Randy to represent the federal court to go after all of LIEnette's assets.
Isn't that interesting? And on top of that great news, I just got an email that I'm officially a licensed auctioneer. I wonder if she'll hire me as the licensed auctioneer to auction off LIEnette stuff.
Look at this, and Deanna's next. She just texted. She's like, can I get my auctioneer's license next? I went, just let me know who on the team is next. So I'm all about investing into the business and furtherance and growth.
This will be good practice for me to auction off LIEnette's
all of LIEnette's stuff
and all her jewelry.
This will be great.
I can auction off on her whatnot.
This will be great. So what this allows Randy to do is he has full authority to act on behalf of the trustee and the federal court. He will be able to subpoena all of DEUCE's financial records, Fleece's financial records, anybody who gave anything that's connected with LIEnette in any shape, way, or form will be deposed, and all financial records are going to be subpoenaed. Wow! Best idea ever, Deuce. Yes. Crook still wants to thank Deuce for that, by the way.
Yeah, he wrote it publicly in a live chat, thanking Deuce.
Now, if you're as shocked as we are, and you're thinking, why would the trustee do that? Well, we're about to tell you. Because lie after lie after lie after lie in this meeting. Well,
it doesn't leave the courts guessing on anything, right? She told LIEnette's lawyer that when she reprimanded him on how to properly fill out bankruptcy paperwork. She said, don't leave the courts guessing. And so hiring the special counsel will help alleviate some of the legwork because he already has the knowledge of what she's been hiding and posting about and selling and all this other stuff that she did not disclose on paperwork.
We have the receipts. Arby's may have the meats. We have the receipts. We have every video, every screenshot. We have all the information, all the financials. We've got it all. They're done. They're done. It's going to take some time, but they're done. And we're so close to not having these freaks in our lives anymore, and we can't wait. So what happens, the trustee then turns things over to Randy and says, as a representation of the creditors, you've got some questions. He says, you know what? We've got a lot of questions. We'll save that for depositions in this bankruptcy court, but we're going to highlight some questions here. Now, how many of the questions did you write down? Because I think you might have wrote down a whole lot more than I did.
I think I pretty much wrote everything. I took short notes. I didn't write verbatim word for word.
Go for it, because you look at these are my notes on the questions that were asked. I can't even read. It was going so fast. Like Randy was on fire.
Well, then George's, my chicken scratch.
George's is much more legible. Like Randy was on fire.
I got 3 pages worth. So I got this page, I got the back page, and I got this page. But I also wanted to address when she was talking to her attorney, when the trustee was talking to LIEnette's attorney on how to properly fill out the paperwork, she gave him an example. She goes, I need you to specify the value amounts of
the Jeep Gladiator.
Yeah, for example. So she gave an example of the Jeep Gladiator.
You don't put 100%.
You don't put 100%.
I'm claiming 100%. You put, I'm claiming $5,000.
The dollar value. And he said, understood. And then he went back to doing this, where you only see the top of his head.
No toilet tank.
All right. So the trustee gave Randy an opportunity to ask questions. And the very first question that he asked was, did you disclose all sources of income on your bankruptcy? All sources of income. And she says, yes. So then he says, are you disabled? She says, yes. Then he asked her, do you work for anyone? She says, no. He goes, what do you do every Saturday? And she said, I have a 501c3 and I work at the flea market for my tortoise rescue I have a flea market booth for the tortoises to feed them.
By the way, this gets hilarious once you're going to hear about the financials.
Mm-hmm. So then she talks about how her 501c3 is to, or I think Randy asked her, so does your 50C13
501c3, he asked, has it been reinstated? She states, yes. That's the next question I have.
I can't read my chicken scratch. That's why I'm like fumbling. He asked about the section of state to raise income.
So I have, do you receive income? And she goes, no, I lose money. Mm-hmm. That's her answer. She says, I lose money. And he goes, have you ever filed a tax return? And she goes, I'm working on one right now. How in the world do you...
She's had the 501c3 since 2022. She posted it all over her tortoise rescue page and even announced it multiple times. She tried to raise money from the public to help her get her 501c3. She's posted fundraisers about that too on her rescue page long before we even knew who she was.
They're so dumb.
So yes, to confirm, she does state that she loses money working at the flea market, which doesn't sound like a very bright business plan if you're losing money, right?
Let me give you the financials, because Randy asked, how long have you been working at the flea market? How long have you had a booth? She goes, about 9 months. He goes, how much money have you made in 9 months? You ready? She says under $500 at the flea market booth in 9 months. She has made under $500 in nine months working day after. She's posting, I work so hard for my money. I'm at the flea market from this hour to this hour. I do work. I'm not a grifter. Anybody believe under $500 9 months at a flea market with all the merchandise you've seen? Oh my goodness. Okay. So he then goes on, I don't know where you're at in your notes, but he then goes on to ask, he goes, you posted on social media that you bought permanent jewelry welder. Did you not? And she goes, well, it's not mine, it's John's. How much do you pay for your flea market stall? She goes, $300 a month. He goes, where's that money come from? Her answer is, out of my pocket. Hold a second. Hold a second. Hold up. Wait a minute. Let's put a little common sense in it. You got a $300 a month. Okay, $300 a month booth. All right, so 300 times 9. Okay, I don't even need to calculate. $2,700 has been spent on a booth in 9 months. She claims that she's only made $500, actually under $500. So let's just give her the benefit of the doubt. Thus far, she has spent $2,700 minus the $500 that she has made. So now she's out of pocket $2,200. Expense per month. Where's the $300 coming from?
Mm-hmm. And why didn't she report that loss?
Why didn't she report the income on her bankruptcy filing? You realize this is all happening right in front of the trustee in a federal court where we can bring in Fed 1, Fed 2, and the bankruptcy and do it all in one ball and be done. Wow. This math ain't mathin'.
No, it isn't. So then Randy asks her about other personal property that she is selling at the flea market. Do you want to give them the answer of what her answer was?
What was it again?
She says, I brought in a bowl.
Oh, yeah. Where are you getting these items for the flea market?
I brought in a bowl and some shoes and some old baby clothes. A bowl. She said one bowl, which none of them have sold yet. None of them have sold yet. There was a part where she talks about how much of the jewelry she sold.
Well, what I have, it was firing, rapid fire, and I could only go so fast. Randy was on fire, I'm telling you. And Randy goes, how are you paid? She goes, well, normally it's cash, but I have a POS now. And I'm sitting there, and she's like, I think it's called a POS. And she's saying POS, which you knew actually means something else, like crook. He's
yeah.
And so
point of sale.
And he goes, what account are you using? She goes, we're not using an account. There's no account. He's like, you are receiving income from credit cards that goes to an account. What account are you using? Why didn't you disclose it? She goes, oh, we have a gym system, a JIM. It's a gym. Okay. Why didn't you disclose it? And she goes, because this is a non-profit. And she goes, I haven't even made rent once. Not once have I made rent. She's going off. She's going off now on Randy. This insane.
Yeah, she goes on to say that the funds, any credit card payment goes on a card. Like, why didn't you just say that instead? It goes nowhere. She goes, it goes on a cart to feed the animals.
Which none of this income, all of this income legally has to be disclosed. None of it was disclosed. The accounts were disclosed. Her PayPal, her Venmo, her Cash App, none of this was disclosed. None of it. Which, keep in mind, she has never declared any income, even though there's income. So even if I make $500 in 9 months and I spent $2,700 to make the $500, I still have to declare the $500 in my taxes. So now we have tax evasion. I have no doubt federal government's going after her for tax evasion as well now too. There's going to be perjury, tax evasion. There's just going to be so much on these people. There's going to be so much. And the trustee has now put Randy side by side with her to uncover it all. How sweet. And Randy's getting paid by the federal court, the trustee, to do it.
Well, she was...
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, we're laughing at you, DEUCE. Oh, my, I can't believe it. George, I can't.
If he can pass
I can't.
the bar, I can pass the bar. I mean, I just passed my auctioneer state exam, now I'm a licensed auctioneer.
She's a licensed auctioneer.
I could be a licensed lawyer.
I have no doubt you would blow him out of the water. Listen, I've heard you argue. Dang, girl, you got a gift.
She said her 501c3, since it's a nonprofit, it's protected. It's not counted.
In other words, a bunch of garbage that has nothing to do with filing for bankruptcy. Randy goes on to say, when did you file for bankruptcy? She gives the date. He said, did you own the fifth wheel by then? She says, no. And she goes, it's not a fifth wheel, it's a pull behind. Which, by the way, I will state this. I don't know how Saran Wrap did it. Somehow he kept her somewhat in check. I don't know how he did it. But he actually dialed her back by 10. Even though she was still unhinged, she was unhinged dialed back by 10. So, as a matter of fact, I will state this. Nobody has been able to do this yet but Saran Wrap.
But it doesn't last long.
It doesn't. She goes off. But he did somehow, some way get her under control. And I think accolades go to Saran Wrap for that, because I don't think anybody's ever been able to do that before.
I know someone that has. Silverman.
Yeah, well.
She didn't say one word.
That's true. Silverman did too. He did a good job with her.
She didn't say one word until she was spoken to.
Yes. And she goes on yelling, it's a pull behind. Randy says, how are you claiming a homestead? And she goes, my house is my homestead. Because Randy said, this camper is a home. Which, by the way, she legally cannot go and get another loan while in bankruptcy, which is exactly what she did, even though they put it in John's name. The bankruptcy court's going to see it the same. She even posted that she paid for all of this. She raised all this money. She got $500 from another jewelry welder. And we have all the screenshots. We have it all. Mm-hmm. She's lying in federal court. I just can't believe it. Mm-hmm. Listen, one of two things are going to happen. She's going to go into jail forever, or DEUCE is. The sooner she throws DEUCE under the bus, the sooner she saves her own tail by the skin of her gums.
Randy did ask her, well, when did you acquire this pole camper? And she said, a couple weeks ago.
In other words, what he's getting at legally, you can't file bankruptcy and then under bankruptcy then try and file for homestead while you're in bankruptcy. So she's now trying to claim that this camper is her legal homestead because she goes, well, I'm living in it while we build a house. Because you got a permit? Well, no. I'm staying in the camper, and that's allowed. That's allowed by the laws while we're building, which they're not building.
But she also stated that they were living in a shed before they bought the camper.
Yes.
She called it a tiny shed. A little shed is how she phrased it.
So Randy asked her, what's the value of the property? Paper, she puts down $25,000. She goes, well, I it's like 26,800 something. What's your answer? What did you have?
She said 26,855.
That's what it was.
And that's the value of just the land.
So that's from the property appraiser's
Yes.
website. Most likely, I did not look and verify, but I think it's hilarious.
Right.
Well, why didn't she write that down in the bankruptcy filing instead of 25,000, which is what I recall. I could be off. It came in late last night. We were working. We work so much on Sundays. So for me to even go through it all, it's like 40 some pages
of gobbledygook.
I skimmed through in like 5 minutes.
So then she got flustered with answering, and she told her attorney, she said, why don't you answer that?
She says, my lawyer will have to answer that. And the trustee goes, no, he will not answer anything. You will be answering. Can you believe this?
And Jerome even said, no, I don't.
So she goes on, Randy goes on and says, you're living in a shed. Is that correct? And she goes, yes, we're living in a shed. Correct. And she goes, how does any of this pertain to my bankruptcy? How stupid can you be to not understand how this pertains? First of all, you're claiming homestead. Second of all, you didn't claim your sheds as assets. I mean, this goes on and on and on how it pertains.
So then he asked her, so you had no actual livable structure when you filed in July, correct? And she said, no. We were living in a tiny little shed.
Yeah. And so then when she goes, how does this pertain? Randy goes, I get to answer the questions. The trustee goes, he gets to answer the questions. And Saran Wrap,
he gets to ask the questions.
His head's just down.
Yeah.
His head's down.
She says he gets to ask the questions. So then he goes on and asks about the septic system and wants to know how much they paid into that. And she got snippy again and said, how is this pertinent to the bankruptcy?
Interesting. Well, it eventually jumps into the flea market booth, which is lie after lie after lie already, and she's caught in it in federal court. And with DEUCE giving her guidance, DEUCE she's absolutely 100% going to throw DEUCE under the bus. She already has. We've seen little pushes under the bus. It's coming. The huge shove is coming. And then the flea from DEUCE is coming. And then I'm sure Fleesa will probably flee as well. All right, so Randy goes on to say, all right, is it true that you are selling permanent jewelry in your flea market booth? And you have 14 karat gold plated, da-da-da. And she goes, I do not sell 14 karat gold.
Gold plated, she does.
Randy said plated. She literally has signs. We have video. We have pictures. We have all the proof in the world. all her postings of gold plated. And she goes, John bought the welder. Where did John come up with the money for the welder when we've been told by LIEnette that John financially ARPs her, won't pay for anything, and now John bought the welder. And this is the funniest part. LIEnette says, doesn't matter, I've only sold 3 bracelets anyway. What? You spend thousands and thousands of dollars in other people's money that has been donated, not claimed, per taxes or in financial bankruptcy. And she sold 3 bracelets. Quite a saleswoman there, isn't she? Quite a saleswoman.
Genius.
Now, is she telling the truth? I'm shocked that anybody would buy anything from her. Just to see her, to hear her, and Crook, I would not be buying anything from that booth. And Randy goes on to say, well, you own 2 machines, isn't that right? And she goes, no. And he goes, so then I've got this on social media. Are you lying? She goes, no, well, I had 2 machines, but I had to sell one. Now, we have the screenshot. She sold it for $500 on Facebook Marketplace. He goes, well, how much did you get for it? She goes, $300. Wait, so you sell a machine worth over $1,000 that Crook bought, according to her, and you realize this is why Randy was just hired, to exploit every single lie she has told and to bring justice to the system. And so she now claims she got $300 after Crook spent thousands on multiple permanent welding machines.
So she went from saying that John purchased 1 welding machine for her permanent jewelry business to they had 2, and then she recently sold 1. But again, none of those were disclosed on her bankruptcy.
Where's the $300 on the bankruptcy filing? Oh boy. Now we're getting into some deep Lisa now.
Oh yeah.
So then he goes on to ask, do you know Lisa Lee? And the funniest part is he uses our Repulsy. He goes, Lisa Lee, you know, like Repulsy.
Whatever. He says, do you know?
Or whatever.
Do you know who Lisa Lee Repulsy is or whatever? So then she flies off the handle again and says, why is this pertinent? She used the word pertinent.
And the trustee goes, he gets to ask the questions.
And I look up and I look at her attorney to see what his facial expression is.
Randy then asked, did you or did you not post that Lisa needs to pay the permits for you for the barnuminium? And she goes, yes. Well, how was she supposed to pay that? Well, all the donations that were given towards me, boom, done in federal court. Lisa Repulsy is done.
Cooked.
Done.
Cooked. Yeah.
Oh, man. And Randy goes on to say, well, what are all these postings about her not giving you all of the donations? And Lisa's done. It's just so done. There's going to be a massive intrinsic financial deep dive into all of her finances. It's a done deal for her. And LIEnette goes on, and there's some things I'm not sharing purposefully because we don't want to show all our cards to the other the defendants in all reality. But LIEnette goes on to say, well, she spent $300 for an island. By the way, we're going to find out how much the wood costs for the framing. She spent $300 for the island. She spent $600 on 2 water heaters. Why do you need 2 water heaters? Anybody want? Why would you take people's donated money and spend it on 2 water heaters when the house is only plumbed for 1 water heater? And then she gives us the most telling thing. $2,400 was spent on the framing lumber for the barnuminium.
She forgot to disclose the 2 toilets that Lisa got her.
That's true. Yeah, it's true. That is that. Forgot the toilets too. All right, well, we'll make sure we give the trustees special counsel all that information. Not that he doesn't have it already. And
You have 2,400 because my notes say 2,300 for the lumber for the framing.
I put down 2,400.
Okay. Well, anyways, it's right
24.
around the same ballpark.
All right. Well, and one of us might have heard a little bit differently, but we got the first number right. But I can tell you it's nowhere near the amount that Fleesa said publicly is what it was. Oh, she's in trouble, and big time. And then Randy goes, isn't it true that a fence was placed around the property as well? Which is hilarious. And LIEnette goes, yes, it was all done by donations.
By YouTubers.
YouTubers! You realize every single one of these physical donations must be listed. Now, every person that gave, which is going to be found out, there is going to be a financial audit, a deep financial audit into every person that gave. And she's going to be held accountable for that. We're talking financial audit on Fleesa and LIEnette, but deep dive into Fleesa. By the way, Fleeca's already publicly stated she will not provide anything. That's great. She'll be in jail. Gabe can give her some pointers. Maybe Paint Chips can give her some... Oh, Dodgy Robbie can give her some pointers. Maybe Guano will give her some pointers. Okay. So she goes, yes, it's all by donations. She goes, do you know Only Me? She goes, I only know the name. I've never talked to him. Even though we have text message, screenshot after screenshot after screenshot, her begging to talk with Only Me to try and get more money. Begging. And have you ever talked to her? Do you know Lisa, Only Me? We just go through all of it. And he gets to the point, he goes, John Crook ever talked to Fleesa? And she goes, I have no idea what John does. Which we already know this is complete and false, total lie. They talk almost daily. And so, complete and total lie. Fleesa and Crook talk almost daily and times hours at a time.
So then he asked about the $56,000 that Only Me gave to Lisa. And LIEnette says that she doesn't believe it.
Well, first she goes, Lisa won't release it to me. Lisa won't give it to me. And she goes, I don't even believe it's there. Oh, we're going to find out exactly where it's at. We're going to find out where every single penny of it went. Because now the federal court is jumping in. Oh, I love it when DEUCE comes up with a good plan.
So then Randy asked her, have you ever written or spoken to Only Me and Lisa? And she says, I haven't spoken to Lisa in
6 months.
Is that accurate? 6 months?
I
don't
wasn't
know when
keeping
they broke
a
up.
timeline
I'm not
on their
sure when they
breakup.
broke up, but I know they broke up.
I mean, I just thought you put the two of them together, you get a full mouth of teeth. Probably minus a few, but you know.
So then he asked her, do you know if John and Lisa have ever written or spoken to each other? And she says, I have no idea. Interesting, because LIEnette has made a Facebook post
about
so upset
them
because she found out that they were talking behind her back.
Yeah. And of course, Randy has all this information. The trustee already has all the information. You can't lie to the trustee. We've given all the evidence over already.
And Randy was ready to show her screenshot of her posting about Fleesa and Crook just talking to each other.
So the trustee goes, no, let's save this. We're going to file this. We're going to do full depositions. And so the trustee goes, this is going to be better because we're going to file full depositions on all these individuals. And we're going to file this in the federal bankruptcy court. And we're going to do this, and this. And gives an outline of where it's headed and where it's going. And LIEnette is just mumbling and shaking her head back and forth and mumbling. And Randy then asks, you ever received any monetary donations? Her answer is no. That's odd because we have a list of people that we are going after the money they gave to Fleesa for LIEnette in Fed 2 of the people who gave monetary donations. And it was given with the intent for LIEnette. And Fleesa is going to be held accountable for this fraud. And DEUCE is going to be held accountable for fraud. Oh boy, this is just huge. They have no idea what's going to happen now.
Well, don't forget, remember when she was begging for $425 to deliver the camper, and needed 400, what was it, 425, and she said, I have 50.
I got 50.
And then it
Then
decreased down to 25 because it was donated to her.
It's backwards auction. Hey, give me now, 50, 50, now, 25, 25, 25. Give me now, 10, 10, 10, now, 5, 5, 5. I got nothing. Yeah. Interesting. She then is asked by Randy, did you post no one needs to claim taxes for donations given to us? Which Randy has the post. Do you understand? The trustee is asking questions, already knowing the answers. Randy is asking questions, already knowing the answers, having all the evidence and all the proof. Same as the trustee. And she goes, no.
Yeah, she says no one has to pay taxes on the donations.
No.
You're not reading the whole thing.
Lisa has to pay taxes. She's now, if she hasn't, she's going to be in tax evasion, and there's fraud, and we've got multiple felonies. LIEnette interrupts, and LIEnette starts going off, and the trustee then goes, listen, we're just going to file the depositions. And Randy goes, yeah, we're going to do the depositions on all of them in the courthouse in Levy County. Randy makes sure, boom, you are going to be deposed. You are going to be in the courthouse, and you and all of your anti-what the Hales are going to be in the courthouse as well. And the trustee says, okay, let me review my calendar and saran wrap, make sure you clean up those filings. And that's what I have. What else do you have?
So the trustee wasn't able to give us a continuance date because she had to look at her schedule. And yeah, she had to professionally and give Jerome a friendly reminder to clean up those exemptions, because what he filed Sunday evening after dinner was very sloppy for a bankruptcy attorney who should know better. So you want to ask, does he really know better, or does he doesn't know what he's doing, or is he doing this intentionally to delay?
He's taking those orders from DEUCE. He's not taking orders from LIEnette. LIEnette's not getting what she wants from him. He's DEUCE's boy. And DEUCE is going to become our boy, because DEUCE is going to be paying us for the rest of his life once we get judgments against him for what illegal things he has done. He's going to be held accountable. LIEnette's going to be held accountable. Subpoenas are now coming soon from Randy. Financial audits are coming soon with Randy. And we're going to have that property. And we will finally be rid of these stalkers, these horrific stalkers. They will finally be out of our lives. It's going to take a little bit more time, but we are one huge step closer to getting there.